Hello, and welcome to this episode of Just a Few. My name is Patrick Antwine. Thank you for joining me and for your support of this ministry. If you have been viewing these videos for quite a while, always look forward to your responses, your comments, your feedback. They mean so much. Encouragement always helps. So, on to today's question. It comes from someone who has been spending some time reading and trying to study the book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible. The question is, why is the book of Revelation so difficult to understand? I think it's a fair question, but I also think that it is not necessarily a book that is hard to understand. In my opinion, for some people, it is a book that is hard to believe. And I'm going to share with you 3 reasons why, for some people, the book of Revelation poses some problems. And it's really 2 significant reasons, and the third one comes out of the second one. So let me jump right into it. And it's not a case where I'm going to have to turn to any verses or anything like that. This is just sharing with you why I think for some people it's difficult to accept and believe some of the things in the book of Revelation. The first reason why some people find the book of Revelation is difficult to understand for them is that most people have a problem with a God of wrath and justice and judgment. Most people prefer to create a God in their mind who's only a God of love and nothing else. So anytime you come across things in the Bible that talks about the wrath of God, the justice of God, they have a problem with that. And if you have a problem with that aspect of God's nature, you're going to have a problem with the book of Revelation, because most of the book describes events yet to unfold on the face of the earth that are not very pleasant. In fact, they are very hard to believe that this God of love will do such a thing to destroy so many people, and in fact, ultimately destroy the earth and then recreate it. So that's the first reason why, for a lot of people, the book of Revelation poses a problem, because, as I said, it's not really difficult to understand, because it's a book that presents its own outline in verse 19 of chapter 1, where it tells you there are 3 main sections. John says he was told to write the things which you have seen, chapter 1, the things which are, chapters 2 and 3, the church on the earth, and the things which shall be hereafter, which is the bulk of the book from chapter 4 all the way down to chapter 22. So that's a simple outline. The book is not really hard to understand. John is describing things in those 3 spheres. The second reason why some people find the book of Revelation hard to understand, and this is a very, very significant reason, is that the book of Revelation, if I counted correctly, has 404 verses. And of those 404 verses, 278 verses allude to things in the Old Testament. John obviously utilized the Old Testament to communicate the visions he saw, because he assumed his readers, the original audience that he was sending this revelation to, understood or would have understood those things because they would have been familiar with the Old Testament. And that's where we have a big problem for most people. Most people think the Old Testament, you don't even need to read it because we are under the new covenant. Until you meet God in the Old Testament, you will not understand the significance of grace and the new covenant, and you will not appreciate it anyhow. The Old Testament is the larger volume of literature. Why did God take so much time to reveal himself in that literature if it's not important to us, so that we'll better know him, that aspect of his nature? So John assumed that his readers are familiar with the Old Testament, and that leads us straight into our third reason why, for some people, the book of Revelation is difficult to understand, is because most of us don't read the Old Testament. And if John assumed his readers were familiar with and they would understand the things that he's alluding to without directly quoting anything from the Old Testament, he never says quoting from Isaiah. He never says quoting from Moses. He assumed the people who was reading his Revelation knew what he was talking about because of their knowledge of the Old Testament. And if you don't fall into that category, you're going to have problems to understand what John was trying to say. That's why for years, over 2 decades, I've been trying to tell people, just read through the Bible. It will all come together eventually. The Holy Spirit will help you to connect it. But if you refuse to systematically read through the Bible consistently, you're going to have problem, especially with a book like the Book of Revelation, because the writer assumes you are familiar with the Old Testament. My name is Patrick Antwine. Those are 3 reasons why I think a lot of people have problems with the Book of Revelation, because you're not familiar with the Old Testament and you have a problem with a God of wrath and justice. I trust that this answer sheds a bit of light and that it will help encourage you to read the Bible, all of it. If you have a question and you'd like me to provide you an answer, please feel free to use the email address on your screen and I'll try to respond as soon as I can. Until then, the next time, grace and peace be multiplied.